Hello, hello, welcome back to the channel. This is gonna be a fun one. Gonna be a fun one. Hurry up and light candles. Those are super dope, but they burn hella fast. That's what I get for not buying beeswax candles. Candles. Jack's Lament has one of the most beautiful and interesting revelations of a very peculiar, very important principle. The principle of rhythm. It actually goes in tandem with rhythm and with polarity. Think about Jack's Lament. He says, there are few who deny at what I do I am the best, for my talents are renowned far and wide. But when it comes to surprises in the moonlit night, I excel without ever even trying. With the slightest little effort of my ghost-like charms, I have seen grown men give out a shriek. With the wave of my hand and a well-placed moan, I have swept the very bravest off their feet. So I want you guys to know what happened in that first stanza of that poem. He says, there are few who would deny that what I do I am the best. First line, this guy is a champ. Not only is he a champ, he knows it. Not only does he know it, everyone else knows it. And not only does everyone else know it, but they've known it for a really long time. Forever. That's important to remember. He's the champ, he knows it, everyone knows it, he's been it forever. Yet year after year, it's the same routine. And I grow so weary of the sound of screams. And I, Jack, the Pumpkin King, have grown so tired of the same old thing. It's called lament for a reason. How is someone that is so substantial of an individual get to be this sad? It's where he's singing a lament in the middle of a graveyard at night by himself. We'll find out. Oh, somewhere deep inside of these bones, and the emptiness began to grow. There's something out there far from my home, a longing that I've never known. What happens immediately after Jack's Lament? Well, if you're not familiar with the movie, he's on a walk trying to figure out what's wrong. He runs into a bunch of different trees. Each one of these trees has a different holiday. One has a bunny for Easter, one has a tree on it for Nightmare Before Christmas, and one has a turkey for Thanksgiving. So he's like looking which door to go through. He goes to pick the Easter bunny, goes, pulls away from the Easter bunny, sees the tree. Christmas. It was a Christmas tree. He walked through, fell into Christmas Town, and the whole song, what's this? What's this? There's magic in the air. He's jumping around. He's got just a shit-eating grin on his entire face. He's been trapped in Halloween world forever. Despite him being a great person, he is still missing something, and this is where it ties into the hermetics, to the teachings of age, the things all the scholars hunt for. This is part of it right here. This law of rhythm and polarity says that you cannot have one thing without having its opposites. They cannot exist. Jack and Santa are the opposites, according to the movie. They had to exist. What rhythm says is, now that there's opposites, the energy will always swing from one pole to the other side. That swing from Jack to Santa, that is called the law of rhythm. We cannot escape that, the back and forth. We can rise above it and avoid the swing, but the swing has to happen, will always happen. And if it doesn't happen, if we stop the swing, it manifests somewhere. You see, Jack was never able to swing away from Halloween Town. Despite how great he was, and despite how much people loved him, that he had only ever had one experience, he knew that he was missing something. We all know that. These laws of hermetics are things that we all know. Though we don't know them consciously, they are a part of us, in that they are extensions from source, just like we are. These laws, these principles, hold up reality. The reality is built on these things. When you, for any reason, try to negate them, that's when bad shit starts to happen. The bad things happening in the world are from a negation of one, if not more, of the 7 of these principles of the hermetics. Jack was frozen in time. So think what happens. He goes to Christmas Town, has the time of his life, comes back. The town has shifted. He's happy. He's happy, smiling, dancing around, singing songs, merrymaking and shit. The thing has fixed. He tries to go back over Christmas Town. A whole bunch of other stuff happens. The very next line of the first or the second verse, he says, "I am a master of fright and a demon of light." What demon of light is named as such? Lucifer was also known as the bringer of light, the bringer of knowledge, because knowledge and light are usually, esoterically speaking, one and the same. Lucifer was the bringer of light. That's what Lucifer means. The Lu in Lucifer is, the word for light in Latin is lux, so that Lu gives you light. So that's what I mean by the poles. To me, the pole is not good or evil, just things that define one another, because good defines bad and bad defines good. You can't have one without the other. Love and hate, same thing. Our opposites define us, basically, is what I'm getting at. We exist upon resistance. Without resistance, we would cease to exist. Jack, he is a demon, a monster. It's Halloween Town's job to scare. And one of the songs, he says, "That's our job, but we're not mean in our town of Halloween." It's just what they do. It's just the existence of things. Like, imagine, say you're dead, and you go back on the other side, and they say, "Hey, do you want to go back on planet Earth?" And you say, "Yeah, but this time I would like to be a big hero, Batman, Superman, some character that everyone praises and is just a total stand-up citizen on all fronts, thin and through." And then he says, "You can do that. Just make the decision if that's what you want to, the experience that you want to have. However, there's a catch." And that person says, "This is the catch. In order for you to be extremely great, there's going to have to exist something that is equally extremely terrible." We tend to rise to the occasion. You think of your biggest influencers, the people who made the biggest names of human history. Think of Martin Luther King. Why? Because there was a great and terrible thing at hand, and he rose to the occasion to match it. Think about movies. Whenever an evil villain appears, the superhero also comes into existence. One cannot live without the other, because there is a compensation in all things. Jack was Santa's compensation. When Jack was able to hit Christmas Town, he bounced up against his opposite. He met his opposite. He met the same thing as him, only to a different scale. And let me give you a really straightforward explanation of that example. So you have a thermometer. It goes from 0 to 100. It measures the temperature, measures the energy in the air, and in terms of Fahrenheit. 0 Fahrenheit means it's really fucking cold. 100 Fahrenheit means it's pretty fucking hot. So you have this scale. Well, really fucking hot, 100 degrees, compared to really fucking cold at 0 degrees, are the same thing. You say hot and cold are the opposite. I say no, they're the same thing. The only difference is where they exist on the scale. Really hot exists on this side of the scale, and really cold exists on this side of the scale. But you're still measuring the same exact thing, which is heat energy. That's how love and hate works. That's how Nightmare Before Christmas works. Santa and Jack are the same exact thing to varying degree. They both must exist while the other exists. And it's nothing personal most of the time. It's nothing personal. It's literally how life works. There's always going to be bad things in the world. And the bad things will always come from not remembering. And as a result, humanity loses our way. We must, as a byproduct of existence, at least as a human, forget, in a sense, who we are. I believe part of being human is part of forgetting. You know, there could be a million, and there probably are a million other existences that have their own uniquenesses and own perceptions, their own paradigms. While ours might be to forget. We fucking forget everything. But we forget so that we can remember. And then we're like, oh my God, that's right. That's what it is. Think of how much nicer it is to get into a jacuzzi when it's really cold outside as compared to getting into a jacuzzi when it's really hot outside. Or even warm outside. It's still pleasurable to go into a jacuzzi when it's cool to warm outside, but it's still so much better to get into a really hot jacuzzi on a really cold day. Why? Contrast. What the law of polarity does is it allows contrast. That warm water feels so fucking good because it's so cold outside. That beer tastes so good because I worked so hard today. That first $1 million check felt amazing because I'm used to getting $100 checks, right? That's how life works. There's beauty in contrast. Without it, things are dull and monotonous and lifeless. Yes, it shows up really fucking dark sometimes. But I again believe that we're here because we chose to be here, understanding that this is how this reality worked. And how this reality worked is there will always be equally great dark as there is light. And there will also be equally as great light as there is dark. Forgetting that is when the real bad things happen. But who is to say that we don't forget on purpose? So, my name is Keith, your man of letters. Thanks for being here. Like and subscribe if you guys are new. Click the little notification button next to the subscribe button when you do, so that you can be notified when the videos are released. And thanks for being here. I'll see you guys in the next video.